Hi everyone, welcome back to my series of Paul McCartney album ranking videos. In the previous videos I've done rankings from 26 down to number 11, but now it's time to hit the top 10. I'm going to do 10 down to 6 in this video, and then the big top 5 will be coming along soon. So, in 10th place I've got, from 1989, Flowers in the Dirt. Let's get you a look at the track listing there. Now, when this album came out in 1989, it was the first big new Paul McCartney studio album release for me as a fan. I'd got All the Best a couple of years earlier, and that had really sort of started getting me interested in his catalogue, but this was the first new album that had come out since then. So this is a huge album for me. It was the year I learned to drive, and I was driving around in the summer of '89 with this blaring out of my car stereo. So I've got a lot of love for this album. I think what time is allowing me to do a little bit is see it a bit more objectively now, comparing it to the other albums, rather than just remembering what a great time I had with this album back in '89. But there's still a lot to like on this album. I think My Brave Face was a great Paul pop song, fantastic opener to the album, and the Costello songs that he did. A lot of the demos are fantastic, and I'm not always convinced that they came across as well on the final polished studio versions as they did in some of the demos. So it was really great to get this archive version that's got those demos, and you could hear what they sounded like early on. They sound fantastic. So I mentioned in my last video about a particular album. I'm not going to spoil anything if you've not seen that, but I mentioned about a 4-song run on one of the albums that was as good as you'll see on many of his albums. Well, on here we've got a 5-song run on here again that I think is right up there with. You'll be hard pressed to find a better 5-song run on his albums, I think, and that's Distractions, We Got Married, Put It There, Figure of 8, this one. Fantastic run. And I think after this one, I think the album does start to tail off a little bit towards the end. I detest Motor of Love. I just don't like that song at all. And the Don't Be Careless Love, I think the first minute of it is horrible. I think it's just in too high a key. And it's like he's struggling to get those notes. But other than that, there's a lot to love on this album. But I just think it just does tail off a bit towards the end. But it was a great return to form. It got him back into performing live after many years away from the stage, so that was good. And it's sort of you could say maybe this is the start of Paul's sort of latter day period of his career, potentially. At number 9, we've just had the archive collection come out a few weeks ago, Red Rose Speedway. Now, in my album ranks that I put together about 2 or 3 years ago, this album was 10 places lower than it currently is. And what happened was, this was an album that I'd never really listened to a great deal until about 3 years ago. And what I found is that I like to go out for walks pretty often. I like to listen to music while I'm out walking. This is a great album to listen while you're out, if you're out walking in the country. Really good. Something like Little Lamb Dragonfly, I think, is one of his great post-Beatles songs. It's an absolutely beautiful song. And Big Barn Bed, great opener. And there's a little bit on Big Barn Bed at the beginning where it's a follow-on from Ram On Ram, and I believe that Big Barn Bed may have actually sort of originated from those sessions. The medley at the end, I think it grows on me in time. I didn't like the medley at first, but I've grown to really like that medley. And there's a lot of good stuff on this album. It's you can tell there's a lot of substance has been taken while they were making it, but it's a really nice album, and I'm enjoying this a lot. I can see it possibly even going further up my rankings in future. Number 8, Tug of War from 1982. Now, there's a friend of mine who may be watching this video at some point. He'll know who he is. he encouraged me to spend time with this album about 10 years ago when I hadn't really given it much of a chance, and I've grown to really, really love this album as a result. The opening couple of songs, Tug of War and Take It Away, classic Paul. Here Today is tribute to John Lennon, because of course this was the first album that he made after John died. It's a lovely tribute to him, and I do wonder with this album whether there was it on Paul's mind that, you know, that he was now the only member of Lennon and McCartney left. Did he feel some additional pressure? I don't know, but certainly the quality of the songs on this album is superb. The Pound is Sinking, I think, is a really good song. Reminds me very much of Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey. That the way that it sort of shifts from being one song into something else, and really enjoyable album. So that was a cracking start to the 80s, if we assume that McCartney 2 was actually recorded during 79, even though it was not released until a year later. This was the first stuff he really worked on in the 1980s, and it's a really good album. Number 7. Now this is I get the impression this is a bit of a love it or hate it album amongst a lot of Paul fans. I love it. Memory Almost Full from 2007. Let's see if we can get the track list in there for you. Okay. Now, I know there's problems with this album in terms of the sound quality. I think the mastering it is absolutely shocking. It's such a loud album to listen to. I have managed to get hold of another version of it that's been cleaned up quite a bit, and it does sound, some of these songs do sound a lot better on that version. Dance Tonight, it's fun. I use the word fun a lot in these videos. I like fun songs. I'm not going to apologise for that. Dance Tonight's a good, fun opening to the album. Ever Present Past is really good. The one song on here that I really don't like is Gratitude. Now, if that had been removed from the album or replaced with one of the bonus tracks from the deluxe edition that's better, this would be even higher up in my rankings, no doubt about that. But Gratitude is awful. It really is. Mr. Bellamy. Now, I've always regarded that as it's like Paul's attempt at Prokofiev, Peter and the Wolf. It's like him where he's telling a story. There's different characters in the story, and as each character comes in, they have their own theme tune. That's how I've always heard this song. And again, I know there's theories about what this song is about, and I've always thought Mr. Bellamy is a cat stuck up a tree, and the firemen are coming along to rescue it. I'm sticking with that story. Whether it might be complete nonsense, I don't know, but I'm sticking with that. The other one song that I wanted to call out on this album is House of Wax. So the first time I heard this album and I listened to House of Wax, I thought, that is the most pompous, up its own backside, horrendous, overblown piece of nonsense I've ever heard in my life. The second time I heard the album, I think I thought the same thing. Third time I thought, maybe I can see what he's trying to do here. Fourth time, loved it. Absolutely loved it. And every time I've heard that song from then on, I love House of Wax. I think it's a sensational song. A great vocal from Paul, and there's a lot of emotion in that song. And it was good that he actually did that live a few times as well, back in the concerts that he was doing around this time. So Memory Almost Full, I've got as number 7 in my rankings. Okay, on to the last song for this, because the top 5 is going to be in another video. Now, Memory Almost Full, I've just obviously said how much I love that album, and I didn't think that he would ever do an album better than that. I was convinced of it. Until a few months ago, when Egypt Station came along in September 2018. Let's just get you the track listing here. You can see that. Now, I have done another video already where I talk for about 25 minutes about this album. I have all sorts of theories and thoughts about the ups and downs of this album. So I'd certainly encourage you, if you wanted to go and check that out on my channel. It's a video I did a couple of months ago. But suffice to say, this album is so much better than I ever expected we'd get again from Paul. It's quite emotional to me towards the end, with when it gets towards the fourth side of this vinyl, which is Despite Repeated Warnings, Station 2, and then the Hunt You Down, Naked Ceiling. I think it's just a stunning end to an album, and I won't spoil it too much on my further thoughts on this for if you do watch that other video, but I have a lot of thoughts about what he was trying to do on this. I was a bit nervous when this album came out. I thought, please don't let it be awful. Please don't let it be awful. It's not. Some of you might not have even got around to checking this out yet, with it being quite new. If you haven't, please go into this album with an open mind. I think it's fantastic. I really do. I can see it potentially going up in my rankings as time goes on, but at the moment, I think it sits just outside that top 5 for me. Well, that's it. 10 to number 6 is done. Hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you've got any comments, if you think these are too high, too low, anything like that, just let me know. Let's have a chat about that. I will be back at some point fairly soon with my top 5 Paul McCartney albums. Hope you can join me for that. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.